Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. Here today, guys, to answer our number one question. And that is, Danny, how do y'all make your dirt? We've probably been asked that question 1,000 times. And today, I hope I can answer that question. Now, very, very seldom will Wanda and I ever go to town and buy dirt to fill pots. I mean, it's almost never. There's been a couple of times we've had some subscribers come and want to do some things for us. We'd run to town and get 6 or 7 bags of good dirt and just to put in the pots to give everybody something to do, because our other dirt, we just didn't have time to make it happen. And guys, but I'm going to take you today and I'm going to show you what we do to make our dirt. Alright, number one, we clear our land. Around me here right now is a place I spent the last 2 days pushing with the tractor. I pushed all the trees, the brush, and all the undergrowth and everything out from under, and only left the bigger trees. We want our place to look more like a park. We want to be able to take care of our land. And we have so much land that's just growed up in undergrowth and bushes and stuff. And behind me here, you can see how thick it is back in here. The woods behind me, if we can pan around, you can see where I'm standing at was just as thick as that down in there was, with old yopons and briars and muscadine vines. All this kind of stuff was just piled in here, just matted. And what we done was come in with a tractor and we took all this stuff out and we've moved it over to the side over here. And we're going to walk over and I'm going to show you that. Alright, guys, you see this trash pile I got pushed up here behind me? This is just stumps, roots, vines, and all this kind of stuff, and a leaf mold and all this kind of stuff mingled all in together to make a trash pile. Now, we do not burn our trash piles, because that right there is my future dirt. We have trash piles like this in different stages on the homestead here. And I'm going to take you along and I'm going to show you some of the different stages, because look, guys, the only way to make real dirt is to let Mother Nature do it over time. There's nothing better than to let this stuff rot down and to take what's rotted down and put that back into your gardens or back into your containers or raised beds or whatever it is that you use to garden with, and let nature do its thing, because we end up with all kinds of worms in there for good composting in our soil, and just an array of microbes and stuff like this goes back into the soil. Now, we will still have to do some amending, because our land here is deficient of certain things. If you live in certain parts of the country, you automatically know your land there is deficient in some things. Where we live at is very sandy. We have a very high iron content in the soil here. Some of our soil has a high zinc content in it. But we are very low in lime. We are very low in things like potash or phosphorus. These kind of things we're low in here because we're so sandy. And when we use stuff like this that's been amended back into the soil, we add a lot of nutrients back into our soil. Now, things like selenium, copper, and these kinds of things that are trace minerals, we have to add that back to the soil every so often when we do a soil test, just to make sure that we keep everything in the soil where it belongs. Now, sometimes when we add a lot of this stuff back to the garden, like one of my gardens over here, I added like 25 tractor bucket loads of this good dirt back into my garden. Well, I pushed some of my limits out of the park. And because of that, it throwed a lot of my other nutrients out of balance, and we had to come in, and we showed you a video here a while back where we had to add some more zinc, we had to add a little bit of lime, we had to add phosphorus and things like that to get our levels back where they needed to be, because they were out of kilter. And now I'm happy to say our gardens are extremely screaming high in everything except salt content, which is perfect. Ours is like 0.01, which is what you really want in your soil. So I'm going to take you along now and show you some of the other stages of our trash piles to kind of give you an idea of what they look like. And guys, it doesn't take a long time for this to happen. A lot of this happens in less than a year. We just left the trash pile we just pushed 2 days ago. Here's one right here that was pushed probably 6 weeks ago. And look at it. You can't hardly even see a lot of the sticks in it anymore. I can come up here now. If I walk in here anywhere, I pick up and I'm raking out dirt. Because a lot of this stuff, see, it's already, it just breaks up real easy. Here in the Deep South, because of our heat and humidity, things decompose very rapidly here. We have a host of insects in the soil, termites, all this kind of stuff gets in there, and they just break this stuff down at an astronomical rate. So this is a 6-week pile. I'm going to take you and show you one that's a year old. Okay guys, this is our final trash pile here. This is our 1-year-old trash pile. Look at it. It's done down to this. Now, you still have to do some work to get your dirt out. When we come in here, there's still going to be some, like here. Here's a piece of wood. These kind of pieces of wood will have to still be gotten out. There's pieces of roots and stuff in here, but they're rotten. This kind of stuff, we have to filter through it and get the, you know, the big stuff out of it. And then we take the rest of the dirt and we go dump it in the garden. And guys, this is really good dirt. It has absolutely no chemicals added to it. It's totally 100% organic. Mother Nature has done it herself. We've not touched it. The microbes are there. The earthworms are in there. Everything is in this soil that the garden needs. It's just up to us to filter through it and get the little tiny sticks and the roots and stuff like that that's left in it out and put it in the garden. And then the stuff we take out of it, all we do, put it back in another trash pile and let Mother Nature do her stuff all over again. Now, one behind me here, see how this one is? This one is one that used to be just like this. This is one we went through some. This one hasn't been through it all yet. You see there is some weeds growing up on it. There's still some dead limbs on it. Stuff like that. That's perfectly natural. That's perfectly normal. It's just up to us to go through it and get that stuff out and just keep moving it along in the process, guys. You can see behind me right here. You see this out here? Nothing but trees and clean ground. We're ready now to begin to add what we need into our homestead here, whether it be some sort of muscadine vines or scuppernong vines, fruit trees, herb gardens, whatever it is that we need to add some sort of thing out into our landscape out here that's going to be edible. And once it gets to growing and it gets to be bigger, we can take out a tree here and there for the fireplace, and we're constantly utilizing our land so that one day our land will be nothing but a giant permaculture forest. It's taking care of itself, it's self-sustainable, and it maintains its own self. It doesn't need any fertilization or anything. It will be taking care of itself. Now, it will need some maintenance, it will need some pruning, it will need some mowing and things like that. But guys, this is our goal here at Deep South Homestead. And the question has been asked, where do we get our dirt? I hope that this video has shown you where and how we get dirt here at Deep South Homestead. The dirt we're using now come from when Katrina came through and blew down lots of timber on our land. Once we cut the logs out of all of it, we pushed the stumps, cut the limbs up for firewood and the tops. Anything that was left was put into trash piles. And guys, we're still using from those trash piles from Katrina. It's just that we're almost finished with those trash piles, and we're having to make sure we keep new ones coming along constantly so that we are always bringing new dirt to the homestead. Now, I know a lot of y'all are going to ask this question. Well, I don't have land to push. Guys, it's just like this. If you have a lawn to mow, if you have trees in your yard that need pruning, if your neighbor's pruning limbs in their trees, and your ordinances will allow it, pile you up a little trash pile on your property and just let it sit and rot. Don't burn all your debris. Now, there's some things you don't want to compost and put into trash piles like this, especially diseased plants and stuff like that. But we're talking about tree limbs, grass clippings, these types of things, guys, leaves. People rake their yards and pile their leaves outside the road. Put all this stuff into a pile somewhere and just let it go back to dirt. And in that way, you have perfectly good dirt that Mother Nature has created from the earth itself, and it's completely natural, and it's completely organic and safe to use. So guys, I hope this has answered your question about Deep South Homestead and where we get our dirt. So thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.